Hello peeps, this is Vaping with an Acquired Brain Injury checking in. I'm not going to be talking about vaping, although I will say this. Pony by the Arc. It's 100 mils. It's 60-40, 60 VG, 40 PG. Flavour is absolutely tremendous. Anybody who's tried Wick Liquor, the Carnival, will notice similarities between this one. It's very nice. So anyway, that's by the by. I think the flavour profile is much more intense because of the fact that it's a higher VG liquid. And but it is very good. It's a very good all-day vape. The throat hit is perfect, spot on. It is a 0.3 milligrams nicotine, and it cost me €35 for the 100 ml, which is quite a big saving if you consider that I pay €7 for 10 ml. So there's 100 ml here, so that would have been €70. Okay, so it's cost me, so it's half that. So all is good. What's on my mind? A couple of things. I was looking around the shop. You know, you buy a cup of coffee, right? That's dear enough. It's €2. €2 for a cup of coffee. All it is basically water, coffee, bit of milk in it. That's it. €2. Then looking around the chocolates, and €1.20 for the smallest bar of chocolate, and it's across the board. You'll see €1.20, €1.20. Snickers, €1.20, and the price is going higher and higher and higher, and the bars are getting smaller and smaller and smaller, or the chocolate layer is getting thinner. So we're paying more for less, and we seem to be paying through the nose for a lot of things. Be diesel for the van, it's gone up to $1.22 for a litre, and it's criminal, because if you check the price of a barrel of oil, you'd say, shouldn't we be paying some roughly, I don't know, €1 for a litre of diesel if you compare the price of a barrel of oil? But no, we're being forced to pay $1.22, and it keeps creeping up, and it's creeping up all the time. Every year there's this bullshit where they announce you're gonna get a bit more money in your whatever, either wages, or they come to some wage agreements that they put the price, you know, that you get more money for the hours that you work. And people go away contented, feeling that they have a pay rise. But do they really? If you look at the price of living going up, they're not really getting a pay rise at all. So it's a big bluff. It's a con. And I read somewhere many years ago, this book which had been banned, and in Russia, if you owned it during 1917, they would have shot you for owning it. But it said that we give the people pay rise, but we'll put the prices up. Yeah, and this is the plan. This was back many years ago. And if you look at the way the prices of everything has been going up, it's like you're getting paid more money, and the price of living going up. So it's going up gradually like this. So everything that was written in that book is true. So I don't know how anybody could turn around and call it a forgery, when you can actually see with your own eyes that what they were actually saying in this book back in many years ago, what they're actually saying is actually true. The cost of living is going up when people get a pay rise. I notice that people are getting poorer. You know, the poor are really suffering, and there's more and more homelessness, and it appears that the government is incapable of doing anything about it. In fact, they're making it worse because they have not got the courage to be honest about the cause of the problem. And if you want to know the cause, you got to look at the people who are actually buying into Ireland, snapping everything up at fire sale prices after the boom. Look, these people are buying cheap, renting high, or they're buying cheap and selling high. They're making vast profits. They take all that money out of the country. That money does not stay in the country. It does not become part of the circulated wealth in this country. So if it's been taken away, if you're talking about billions of euros being taken out of the country, then people are going to get poorer because they cannot afford to rent, they can't afford to buy. And if there's not enough money circulating in the economy, then the prices have to go up. They have to increase taxes to cover the shortfall. And so if they're not covering the taxes, if they're not covering the shortfall by raising taxes, they have to go back to the European Commission and the IMF and beg for a loan. And so the national debt increases. Recently we've seen the government giving itself a pat on the back because there's less people unemployed. How can they say there's less people unemployed, but there is more people being made homeless? Yeah, think about it. So yeah, this country is in a mess. If they turn around and say that, you know, Europe is good for us because it's providing work, no, it's providing debt. That's all it's doing. And that debt is increasing every year. So that is what Europe is providing this country. And another thing is if you've noticed the boom and bust and the boom and bust, it's like a wave. It's a wave. If you look down the ages, down the decades, it's a wave form. So the peak of the wave is in the good times, and then you have your bad times, and then you have your good times and bad times. This is how it works. You don't have a stable economy for decades. Stable economy lasts for at least 5 or 6 years. Drops off, you're in a deep depression, get well into debt, and then you're back to square one. But the problem is, because the prices have gone up everywhere else, and then the government has to draw in more taxes to cover the shortfall, then that debt increases. So it's got to the stage now where Ireland is going to be perpetually in debt unless it turns around and says we've got to get out of this mess altogether and print and control our own money wealth, which is their constitutional right to do. And they have the brains in this country, and the manpower and the workforce, and the tourism and everything else that goes along with it, the arts, the culture, the music, everything. Ireland has so much going for it, and this country could stand on its own 2 feet and pay its bills. But there's a cowardice in the government, and they will not let go of the teat, for want of a better word. The teat that is the central banks, the IMF, the ECB. And it's a tragedy, it really is. We have the people being brought up to believe that nationalism is evil, and most people identify as being left-wing in this country, and they haven't figured it out yet. They call themselves Christians or Catholics, but how can they really profess to being either one or the other when they adopt leftist um, ideologies? Because they are diametrically opposed to each other. The left movement is anti-religious. It's always been anti-religious. And so these people who claim to be Christians and Catholics and identify as the left are conning themselves, or they're being brainwashed and being conned by others. The latter appears to be the case. We have the Fine Gael now has gone down the leftist route, has gone down the liberal route, and there are no right-leaning parties in this country anymore. And it turned out that in 1938 or 1936, between 36 and 38, right-wing parties were banned. So the blue shirts were kicked out, and the left has been allowed to prevail. But the left has been so destructive. If you look at the past leaders of the revolution, if you look at Markovits, Countess Markovits, Constance Markovits, she identified as a Bolshevik. If you look at the £25,000 loan that Eamon de Valera gave to Litvinov, who was a Bolshevik leader at the time. That was it's over £25,000 sterling. This is sterling. If you think that the Irish did not have its own currency then, so this was a £25,000 sterling interest-free loan to the Soviet government, the Bolshevik government. And if anybody has actually done any research on the Bolsheviks, they'll quickly learn that the Bolsheviks murdered tens of millions of people. So what did Eamon de Valera get in return for his £20,000 loan to the Bolsheviks? He was handed the crown jewels. The late Tsar, who was murdered by the Bolsheviks, and his family. They were all shot and thrown into quicklime, and so they exchanged the crown jewels. He took them in for safekeeping, and it was what's his name? Oh, his name it slips my mind at the moment, but one of the Republicans actually hid the crown jewels at his mother's house. And it's a black stain on Irish history. If anybody turns around and says, oh no, the Bolsheviks are good people, no, they were not. They banned religion. And it didn't matter whether it is Judaism, Christianity, they banned it. Anybody caught professing their religion was crucified if they were a Christian, and they were just executed otherwise. So the Bolsheviks were anti-religion, and they murdered millions of people. So, oops, this may be an expensive cup of coffee, but it's nice, so I'll let them off. So anyway, Irish tawdry history concerning certain individuals is quite embarrassing, really, if you put it into the correct context. And now what you see in this country is this leftist disease has been able to take over the Irish mindset, and it's crept into everything. I think what we need is a resurgence of nationalism, national pride, and people should be proud of the culture and everything about being Irish. It's no good to just pull out your flags during the Olympics. You got to keep your flags flying every day of the week. You keep them flying from the gables. And you gotta stand up for your country. The usurpers are allowed to get away with murder. They're coming over here and they're not paying their taxes. They're leeching all the money out of this country. Like I said, once you take the money out of the country, when you take it out of circulation, it causes problems. It causes a depression. It's a bit like a bank run. If there's shocks on the market and people said, we've got to get our savings out, and they make a run on the banks, sooner or later the banks haven't got any money to pay anybody. Now there's the same things when people are taking billions of euro out of the economy. It has the same effect. There's another thing hanging over this country's head, is the fact that, if the government doesn't play by the rules, by the IMF rules, the IMF will bankrupt this country in an instance. And I don't think that the government has a backup plan for that eventuality. I don't think they have. I don't think they have the intelligence to formulate a backup plan if the worst was ever to happen. It's so some people might say, "Oh, you're a bit of a conspiracy theorist." You only have to look around you. You only have to look around. You only have to look at the businesses for sale, businesses which have closed down, businesses which are being sold off on the cheap, the hotels, the factories, the land. Then you've got to look at what's being planted in its place. You see windmills going up everywhere. I'm surprised Mount Leinster hasn't been covered in windmills already. You have all these consortiums forming these, these pacts where they have the money, and they can do whatever they like. They wanted to buy Quilcha and all the forestry and hand it over to the electrical grid so they could put pylons across and God knows what else. It's like you're losing your country. You don't really have any say in what goes on here anymore. If it's not Europeans writing laws, it's your own government is just caving into anybody who's got a few £billion in their ass pocket. There are certain things that should not be allowed to be sold to anyone unless they are Irish, unless they are Irish blood, unless they live here, they're going to remain here, they're going to provide work here, and they're going to keep the money in this country. There are certain areas that need to be protected. One of them is in the leisure industry with the hotels. The people buying the hotel should be Irish. If they can't find one single person to buy a hotel, you form a consortium to buy those hotels. You're going to force the vultures out of the market. You're going to say to these people, no, because you do not treat the Irish fairly. You're just treating people as if they're money in the bank. So you've got to get rid of the usurpers. And once you've done that, you'll have a great country again. But as it stands, so long as you have people waltzing in here, buying everything up on the cheap, and then making you pay for the nose for it, for the privilege of using their facilities or living in their accommodation, you've got to put a stop to it. Anyway, I'm going to end it there. I could go on, but anyway, they're my thoughts. Right, tell you about.